All right, I just want to walk you through a little bit of info about the challenge because it's unlike any other challenge before. Often it's so easy to be like, okay, someone just tell me exactly what to eat. But when we do that, we're giving our power away because there's not really one exact way to eat that fits everybody. So what we want to do is simplify things so that you can do this whenever. It's not just something you like white knuckle for 30 days and then go off track as soon as something comes up and all the stars aren't aligned. So this is just a way of looking at food and moving our body and eating that is something we can sustain forever because sometimes nutrition can get confusing. So there's so many different diets out there. We can get really confused about what to eat. But I want to break it down for you that all these different ways of eating aren't even really that different. The reason that we see success on so many of these different ways of eating is because they all generally share the same foundational pieces of pay more attention, like eat mindfully. Doing any type of diet or challenge or thing like that, it gets us to be mindful of what we're eating. And it gets us to eat more whole foods, less of the processed stuff, and also be aware of the amount of food we're eating. So, literally, we're just going to take the powerful pieces that every other diet uses and ditch all the restrictive or the confusing stuff. And what we're going to focus on for the challenge is eat mostly whole foods, don't overeat. And so we have to make adult decisions here because there's so many ways of finding loopholes to do this where you're not going to feel any better, or you can own your decisions and be like, I'm an adult. I know what makes me feel good and what makes me not feel good. And there's going to be check-ins every week. So someone's going to be holding me accountable to my own choices. So I'm really trying to put the power in your hands here because I bet you have an idea of what are the things that make you feel good and what are the things that don't serve you. And so you're going to have the accountability of a group and people checking in with you every week to be like, hey, you set an intention for yourself that you want to take action on stuff that makes you feel better. Did you do it? So pony up, people use this as a opportunity to do something good for yourself and take ownership of it. It's very easy when we sign on to programs that are telling us exactly what to do and being very strict that when we finally like can't stick to it, then instead of owning our choices, it's very easy to be like, oh, well, that program just didn't work. And so we want to take that option away and remind everybody that you're making decisions for yourself. And we're going to give you some basic like guidelines and structures that can be really supportive. But it all comes down to making different decisions. Honestly, in 4 weeks from now, you could create a whole new lifestyle for yourself, but just changing your mindset and like taking ownership over things. So it's the implementation and consistency of doing those two things that all those diets share. Eat mostly whole foods, like prioritize whole foods and don't overeat. Eat in amounts that fuel your body. And we can tell the difference, like if we're really honest with ourselves, we can tell the difference when we're we're eating mindfully, we're hungry, we stop and we're satisfied versus stuffed. And we can tell the difference when we're like walking around the house bored, checking all the cupboards, smashing a bunch of snacks when we're watching TV just 'cause. So you'll see on the resources section tomorrow, whenever you open up the app, there'll be a bunch of resources and there's going to be a huge folder in there of resources of all these how-to guidelines and also like sample meal plans. Like if you really don't want to think about what to eat, I promise you follow those meal plans, you'll feel freaking great. There's a ton of recipes. There's like how to eat at restaurants guides. There's a bunch of protein shake recipes in there and so much more. But every day on your little task list, it's going to say eat mostly whole foods. And this gives a description. How do you know when you've eaten mostly whole foods? It's like you're an adult. You know that idea of an 80/20 rule. Like you know if most of what you ate was like real food that you can say with a name and it didn't come from a box. And whenever you go to check that off as complete, you'll be able to do that at the end of every day. You click on it, it says done or not done. Same thing, there'll be a little task there that says don't overeat. Same thing here. Whenever we're like, how do I know if I did that successfully or not? It's like, trust yourself and you're an adult and you know if it feels like a stretch for you to say like, oh, I didn't eat overeat today. Mark it as not done. Like own it, be honest about it. So the little way that I like to kind of judge fullness, because it's kind of a range. So think about when you're done eating, could you comfortably get up and go for a walk? None of this like, oh, I've got a food coma and I gotta sit on the couch. So those are gonna be your two nutrition tasks. Eat mostly whole foods, don't overeat. Keep it super simple, and that's something you can stick with always. So even you'll notice, so say you have a day, maybe you're out and quality of food is out of your control. You still have this option of ticking off don't overeat as success. Like you don't have to go F it, whatever, and then eat until you feel sick. If maybe you mark eat mostly whole foods is not done, but you can still mark don't overeat. So you ate mindfully, you stopped before you got uncomfortably full, so you can mark that as complete. So there's so many ways to win at this. And then when it comes to the workouts, instead of feeling like you gotta get up at 5 a.m. and go spend an hour and a half in a gym or do classes that leave you feeling drained afterwards, we just want to get the body moving intentionally. So the goal is going to be 150 minutes of exercise per week. So that can be anything that gets even brisk walking counts, but like none of this like lollygagging. It's got to kind of feel like exercise, get your heart rate up a little bit. Some yoga where you're moving your body around, any type of classes. So you'll see when you open up the homepage of your app, there's a little plus button. You click that and then you type in what you did and how many minutes. And your goal be to get 150 minutes by the end of the week. And before we dole out prizes, like we'll be making sure that everybody got their minutes in and they were um, consistent, at least 80% consistent. So 80% of the time you're able to mark off these tasks as done versus not done. So it doesn't mean to be perfect. So if you miss a day, just aim to not miss 2 days in a row, because then you're still up for the prizes if you get 80% consistency and you'll honestly just feel better. Doesn't have to be perfect. We just have to be mindful and keep going. So, to give you guys a tool of making eat mostly whole foods kind of simpler, where you don't have to think about it too much, is think about building balanced plates. So, by balanced plates, I mean having a protein, a carb, a fat, and then like non-starchy veggies whenever possible on it. And the reason this makes such a big difference, if you can start looking at your meals and being like, okay, like 3 to 4 times a day, I'm just going to try to build a meal that has protein, fats, and carbs when I can, and then non-starchy veggies on there. Because without having to think about it too much, if you do this 3, 4 times a day, then you know you're getting in the essential nutrients that your body needs, which is protein, fats, and fiber, and a bunch of vitamins and minerals. And whenever you pair things together, it keeps you fuller longer. So there's less like cravings for things. It keeps your blood sugar balanced. It gives you some flexibility. So instead of me like giving you a meal plan, being like, okay, you got to go spend 3 hours in the kitchen and eat out of the Tupperware for the next 6 days, there's so much flexibility here. You can make just think of it like Tetrising things together, like protein, fat, and carbs. That can be a million different variations, and you're still getting in the essential nutrients, building a balanced plate, and eating mostly whole foods. So just like first build your plate by adding in what you need, and then you can add what you want on top of that. And you'll naturally help portion control without having to count calories or weigh and measure things, because proteins and fibers and whole foods are naturally filling and we'll get that I'm not hungry anymore signal, versus if we're eating just processed foods without um, fiber or protein, you don't get that signaling from your body in the same way. So this is just a tool. Building a balanced plate is a tool to help make this easier. But remember the two tasks: eat mostly whole foods, don't overeat. And if it feels like a stretch to mark it as done, you're like, oh, I don't know if it really counts, mark it as not done. Just be honest with yourself and you'll start to trust yourself. You'll know when you can mark those as done. It's like most of the time it's whole foods and you're eating without mindlessly like bored eating, stress eating, and eating until you're too full. So we're keeping it real simple here. And the thing I like about these two tasks of eat mostly whole foods, don't overeat, you can work towards, it doesn't matter what your goal is, those two things will always be a part of it. Eat mostly whole foods, don't overeat. Like that will always be a part of something. Say optimal health is like your goal and you're trying to, get better cholesterol numbers or something like that. Eat mostly whole foods, don't overeat. That'll help with that. And so you can make little tweaks to this depending on what your specific goals are. And if you need kind of help with that, like don't be shy to ask. But for optimal health, for example, the tweaks we would make is we really want to focus on sleep and lowering our stress and getting a diversity of a bunch of different types of plants for our gut microbiome and doing things that are social and fun. Like those are the things that help lower our stress, and that's what's best for health. If you have fat loss as part of a goal, still you can do the same things, eat mostly whole foods, don't overeat. And then you just start paying attention to your body. You'll see there's an option you can do measurements and weigh yourself, like if body composition goals are a part of your future. We're going to be checking in with that on day 1 and 14 and 30. You can update your weight and update your numbers. So then if you have fat loss as a goal, you'll know because you'll have the data and you'll see, oh, if my weight's trending up, I know that what I've been eating was just more than what my body needs. So we can shift our portions, or we can reduce the amount of the processed foods, um, or like lower our carbs and fats, things like that. Like you just make tiny little tweaks. So when you have a goal of muscle gain, same thing. You can keep the same foundation, eat mostly whole foods, don't overeat, don't overeat the junk food, stuff like that. But you'll want to make sure that you're doing strength training. So you're actually pushing the muscles to kind of tear apart. Yeah. So then you can force those cells to get stronger. So you do the same thing, but you work on effort in the gym and sleep. So, regardless of what your goals are, eating mostly whole foods, not overeating, those will work for any of these goals. So, I wanted to bring this up just because in this world, weight loss, fat loss is something that's kind of a common goal, and I think there's never a wrong goal. I just want to make pe sure people go about it in the right way, and asking our body to change is a stressor on the body. So we want to make sure the body's in a good place so you can go through fat loss efficiently without creating any adaptations or putting more stress on the body. So if fat loss is a goal of yours, I want you to go through this checklist and make sure you can check all of these areas off before trying to take away and get into a calorie deficit, before trying to remove any food from your diet. First, we want to make sure that your body's in a good place. So sometimes people need to make sure they're adding in more whole foods, more nutrients to look after their body. And then a fat loss phase is easier because then it's just managing kind of calorie intake. But you don't, if you can't check off all of these boxes, don't focus on eating less to try to lose weight because you're just going to burn yourself out. You're going to adapt your metabolism and it's going to feel like weight loss is impossible. So sometimes you have to kind of earn the privilege of asking your body to go through this stressful thing of using your energy stores because it's holding those things there to help you survive. So if fat loss is a goal, make sure you can go through these 2 pages. You can check all of these off as like, yep, done. And then you can go into a fat loss approach where you're trying to manage your calorie intake. Now, I wanted to bring this up as kind of a mindset thing where it's a reminder that no you has ever existed before. So often we're always searching around for that like perfect program, be like, okay, tell me what to do. And it takes you out of the equation because then it also takes your responsibility out of the equation. So if it doesn't work, it's has nothing to do with you. It's because of the program. So it's important to note that there's no you that's ever existed before. So there's not one perfect plan that's laid out there that you just have to find to follow. It's like you have to create it because you're the only you. So you have to experiment with everything and then learn from it and then start making adjustments. So you can definitely use all the information you find on the internet as suggestions, but make sure you know that it's you making decisions. And everything out there is just suggestions you can try, experiment with, but it's up to you to pay attention, see how it reacts and works with you, and then make adjustments as needed. So I like when I'm trying to look at like myself and my habits, I like trying to be a scientist versus a judge. So a judge, whenever we're using our judgy mindset, we're always beating ourselves up like, frig, why did I do that? I fell off track again. I caved. Why, why? And our brain always just wants to find answers for us. So it'll give us so many reasons for why we screwed up or why we did it this way. But that's not helping us at all. So we need to shift our focus to be like a scientist and start asking our brain different questions and ask our brain, like, first, what is it that I want and how can I achieve that? So literally just as simple as, like, say it's late night snacking, instead of going, man, why can't I stop snacking at night? Because then the brain will just bring you evidence of why you can't. So instead, change your language and say, how can I, how and don't try to say like what you want to stop. What is it that you want? You want to feel confident around food. So you say like how can I create confidence around food? How can I um, make better choices? It's like the way we talk about ourselves and food is really important. So whenever you're kind of looking at yourself and your actions, ask yourself, are you being a judge or are you being a scientist? Like, come at it with curiosity first and say, how can I do something differently next time? And you'll be shocked at the information that the brain starts to bring forward to you. Now, the other thing that I see happen a lot when it comes to making changes with our health is we go all or nothing. And I call this the F it mindset. The moment something goes like off track, it goes F it, whatever, I'll wait till Monday, I'll try again, I'll do it when things slow down. Think of it like this. If you missed a day brushing your teeth because you were like, oh, you were traveling or whatever, you didn't have your toothbrush, or it was late night and you were out party, would you really go, oh no, I missed a day brushing my teeth? I'll just start again after the holidays. Or like, oh my God, or you'd freak out and panic because you missed a day, and so you call your dentist and you're like, oh my God, I need help, I missed a day. You wouldn't do either of those things. You would just brush your teeth the next day and not make a big deal about it. Go, oh, I'm just gonna start brushing my teeth today now that I can. So think of it that way a little bit. Or it's like going on a road trip and you take a left turn, take a wrong turn, and you pop a tire. Would you really get out of the car and go, "Oh, I popped a tire. F it, might as well slash the rest of them and just hang out here for a couple weeks." No, you just go, oops, popped a tire. Better figure out how to fix it. Maybe I won't take that left turn the next time I come this way. And then you just move on. So keep that mindset. Don't slash the tires. Don't like not brush your teeth until Easter just because you missed a day. Just consistency matters most. Now, this other little bubble here is this, it's like an iceberg if you can see it here. And often, my video might be hiding it, but often we only focus on what's visible here at the top, and that's focusing on willpower and information. We always just focus on those two, but the real pushers for change is focusing on our mindset, our environment, and our habit. Same thing with like if we bring it back to the toothbrush theory, do you think you would be more consistent brushing your teeth if the toothbrush is right by the sink, which like everybody's is, or if your toothbrush was in the attic, don't you think you'd maybe miss a few more days just because it's not there and it's not visible? Like, make your environment suitable to what it is that you want to do. And you guys are doing that already because you're surrounding yourself by other people that are working towards the same things. But anytime you find yourself hitting a roadblock, instead of just saying I need more willpower or need more knowledge, I got to find the right plan, pause for a second and go, how can I shift my mindset, my environment, or my habits to make what I want easier to do? All right. Now, this favorite thing that I love is often when we want to go through changes because we want to get more confidence, right? And I believe the formula for self-confidence is following through on your word. I imagine it like the little bricks making up your body. Every time you make a promise to yourself and you break it, you don't follow through on your word, you lose a brick of your self-confidence. So you get a little hole in your self-confidence armor, right? And if you make a promise to yourself and you follow through on your word, you gain a brick. So we sometimes shit happens and we can't follow through, but we want to make sure that we're adding more bricks than we're taking away so that we have strong self-confidence. So little things like, say you're like, okay, I'm gonna get up at 6 and then you snooze until 7. That's losing a brick of self-confidence. And you say you're gonna do stuff all the time and then don't follow through. It's like, no, then we're gonna lose a lot of self-trust in ourselves. Imagine a colleague was like, I'll get you that paper on Thursday, and then they didn't. And then the same thing on Saturday. It's like you would lose faith in them so quickly, but we often do it to ourselves all the time. We say we're going to do something, and then we let ourselves not follow through on our word. So be really intentional about what promises you're making to yourself. And when you follow through, celebrate that because you're building that self-confidence brick by brick. All right. So I'm going to end it here, and but just know you can message me through the app with questions, but I really hope you use these next 4 weeks to make some positive changes and get a kickstart, a little boost, a little reset to create kind of a lifetime of feeling good, feeling energized, feeling confident in yourself because our health is everything. The better we feel, the more we can go and enjoy life. So I want to make healthy living so simple and so accessible for everybody so that you can enjoy yourself to the max. So please feel free to ask questions, and I look forward to getting to do this with you.